So, when you look at Python code, what do you see? Just lines of text? Well, today we're going to look at it differently. We're going to see it as an architectural system, a real structure, built from fundamental logical blocks. Let's dig into the grammar that holds literally every program together. All right, let's get right into it. Think of a program like this one as a complex building. Every single piece, from an import line to an if-else block, has a very specific job to do. In this explainer, we're going to deconstruct this building, starting from the smallest, tiniest atoms and working our way up to the complete architecture. So here's our game plan, our blueprint for how we're going to tackle this. We'll start with the huge difference between values and actions. Then we'll look at the atomic bricks of code, see how they get built up into bigger blocks, learn how to handle some real-world chaos, and finally, step back and admire the finished structure. Okay, first up, we've got expressions. An expression is basically any piece of code that, well, it boils down to a single value. Think of something simple, like 5 plus 3. On its own, it evaluates to 8, but that's it. It doesn't perform any action. It's just a value, kind of waiting to be used. Now, a statement, that's a whole different story. A statement is a complete command. It's like a full sentence. So for example, x equals 5 plus 3, that's a statement. It gives Python a direct order. Hey, calculate this value and then store it in a container called x. See the difference? And yeah, this visual right here makes that difference crystal clear. You can see the expression is like a funnel, right? It takes in some stuff and produces one single output value. The statement, on the other hand, is that robotic arm that actually takes the value and does something with it, like putting it in a box. So remember, expressions yield, statements act. So if statements are all about action, it makes sense to start with the simplest actions possible, right? These are what I like to call the atomic bricks of our code. These are the foundational single-line commands that everything else is built on. And these are so direct. They're self-contained, one-line commands. As you can see, assignment is basically a label maker. It attaches a name to a value. Import is like plugging a new tool into your workshop. Suddenly, you have new powers. And deletion, that's the cleanup crew, getting rid of a name and freeing up that space. They're immediate and they're powerful. But you can't build a house with just single bricks, right? You need to group them together to make walls and rooms. And that's exactly what brings us to our next section, building with blocks. This is where we see how to combine our simple little statements into much larger, more powerful structures called compound statements. So what is a compound statement? At its core, it's just a container. It has a header that kicks things off, and then a whole body of other statements that belong to it. This is how we start to build real logic and structure into our programs. And this is where Python does something, well, famous and really elegant. How does it know what's inside that container? It's not with curly braces or keywords. It's just white space. A line that ends in a colon signals, hey, a block is starting. Everything indented underneath it belongs to that block, just like files tucked neatly inside a drawer. Indentation isn't just for looks, it is the structure. Our first big example of this is the if statement, and honestly, the railway switch analogy is perfect. Your program is the train chugging along the tracks. It gets to an if switch and checks a condition. If it's true, it veers onto that path and completely ignores the other tracks. If it's false, it just keeps going to the next switch, the elif. The key is, it will only ever follow the first true path it finds. Okay, so we can make decisions. What about doing things over and over again? That's where loops come in. And in Python, you've basically got two main flavors. First, there's definite iteration with a for loop. You use this when you have a known list of things to go through. Then there's indefinite iteration with a while loop. That's for when you just need to keep going until something changes. And these images just nail the difference. The for loop on the left, that's the factory assembly line. You know you have 3 boxes to stamp, so the machine runs exactly 3 times. No more, no less. But the while loop on the right, that's the minecart. It has no idea how many laps it's going to make. It just knows one thing. Keep driving as long as the battery is greater than 0. So, how do you choose? Which loop is right for the job? This table is your cheat sheet. Use a for loop when you know exactly how many items you're dealing with. Use a while loop when you're just waiting for some condition to change. But you have to be careful. With a while loop, there's a real risk it could run forever if that condition never becomes false. A for loop, on the other hand, will always finish. Okay, so our code is now resilient. But is it efficient? I mean, a good architect doesn't redesign the exact same doorway for every single room, right? They create a reusable plan. And in Python, we do that with functions. This is where functions come in to save the day. Think of a function as a reusable mini program, kind of like this machine. You give it some inputs, programmers call these arguments, it performs one specific job, and then it gives you back a result. The beauty is, you write the logic just once, and then you can call on it 1,000 times. This is the absolute core principle of writing smart, efficient code. Now, a really cool thing about these functions is they're designed to be completely self-contained. And that brings up a really important architectural idea called scope. Basically, by default, any variable you create inside a function is trapped in there. It lives in its own little local world. And this is a good thing. It means variables from different parts of your program can't accidentally interfere with each other. It keeps your whole architecture clean and predictable. Okay, so we've got our building blocks, we can make decisions, we can repeat things, but let's be real. The world is a chaotic place. Things go wrong. And that brings us to handling that chaos. We need statements that act like safety equipment for our program. Now, these two are absolutely crucial for writing code that doesn't just fall apart. Think of the try/except block as your safety net. You put the risky code in the try part, and if anything goes wrong, the except part catches the error so your whole program doesn't crash. And the with statement, that's like an automated bank vault. It guarantees that a resource, like a file, gets closed up properly when you're done, even if something bad happens. All right, we've looked at the individual bricks, and we've seen how to build walls and rooms with them. Okay, we've covered the blocks, we've covered flow control, we've covered reusable functions. Now it's time to combine everything into the ultimate blueprint, the way we create complex and totally custom components in our programs. And this is the class. If a function is a reusable machine, a class is the blueprint for the entire factory. It's a template for creating objects that bundle both data and behavior together. So from this one drone blueprint, you can create tons of unique drones, maybe an explorer, a builder, a guardian. And they each have their own data, but they all share the same core design. All right, we've looked at the individual bricks, and we've seen how to build walls and rooms with them. For our final section, let's step back and look at the whole building. Let's see how all of these different statements come together to create a complete, working program. Now, take a look at this. At first glance, it might seem a little intimidating, but you know what all these parts are now? Right at the top, that's a simple import statement, just loading a tool. The def keyword creates a reusable block, and right in the middle, that try/except block is our safety net. Inside of that, the for loop is our factory line, processing each item one by one. See? It's just a sequence of all the blocks we've been talking about. And you know, that's really the big idea here. Mastering these statements, from a simple assignment to a complex try/except block, it's more than just memorizing rules. It's about learning the universal architectural grammar for instructing a computer. These are the building blocks you'll use to construct anything you can possibly imagine. The moment you really get how these pieces fit together, everything changes. You're not just following instructions anymore, you're the architect. You have the blueprints. So the only question left is, what will you build?